Hello and grüß Gott. Well, this is my brand new Ampeg model V-4B amplifier. Couldn't wait to get it. Must have watched those Ampeg videos 100 times. I miss my old V-4B. I had one with the 727 output tubes. Great amp, loved it, was awesome. So I've been waiting for this to come out. As soon as it came out, I ordered one right away. The going rate on the internet's about $1,300. And mine has several defects. Pretty unhappy. So we're going to take a look inside, see what's going on. Maybe something I can fix. I've been working on tube amps for the last 35 years. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to get a thermal instrument. Right now I'm running the, I have it on with the standby voltage turned on, or the B plus voltage is on the output tubes. So I'm allowing them to get to their quiescent temperature, and I'm going to measure this temperature real quick. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to start out using a handheld thermal digital reader, and I'm reading in Fahrenheit. So I'm going to start with the leftmost vacuum tube here. See if I can get a good reading. It says about 192 degrees Fahrenheit at idle. This one's about 199. This one is about 197. And this one here is about 200. So temperature-wise, they all seem to be running about correctly. I'm going to go ahead and put in a input and drive it to a dynamic speaker load, an actual load. And then I'll remeasure after I've let it run for a couple of minutes with some sound going through it. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. All right, at this point I'm driving a low subsonic frequency, probably putting out about half of its RMS power. So I'm going to measure the output temperatures on the tubes here. That's 240, 246, 246, and 253. And those are kind of varying around. So I think they're all probably well balanced within each other. That's all fine. So I'm going to tear this baby open and see what's inside of its guts. So we'll do that and we'll be right back. Okay, at this point I'm going to do some checking around inside on the B plus voltages just to see what we get. I'm wearing electrician's gloves, and I did test them to make sure they're good. So I'm using a multimeter and I'm going to check plate voltage. It's 447 volts on this tube. 447 on this one, should be about the same. Interesting, 445. And 445, so it's unbalanced. I would expect it to be the same on both sides of these vacuum tubes. Okay, 447. Maybe I just had a bad connection. 447. Okay, it's good. B plus is good. I do see several solder connections that look pretty crappy in here. Looks like it was wave soldered. Well, I don't think it was wave soldered. I actually think it was hand soldered. And it looks like they didn't do a very good job. This looks like a black gate capacitor. I can't tell. But overall, here's your power supply for your B plus, and I don't see anything that looks, you know, poorly done or anything. It looks like a pretty good quality piece of equipment from inside. I'm going to put my oscilloscope on and see if we can't take a look at the output here and see if we can take a look at the hum and see how much it is. So we will be right back. Alrighty, I've hooked my oscilloscope up and I'm seeing the ripple on the output. It's not very much, but it's enough to definitely be audible. So I'm going to suspect it's coming from the B plus power supply. So what I'm going to do here is carefully probe that. Come on. Well, I'm not getting a very good connection. We can get a better ground here. Gonna have to change my sensitivity. And let me take another look here. There it is. Huge ripple on the plate voltage, the B+ voltage power supply. That is ridiculous. That is crap, is what that is. Oh, wait. Looks like it may not be on this one. Well, anyway, we got some strange things going on here. Okay, there it is right there. Yeah, it's there. It's just my making not such good contacts. That's all it is. Although that one doesn't seem to have it. Interestingly enough. Well, this is a real mystery, so I'm gonna have to dig some more into it. I think the amplifier is defective from China. So how did they let it get out of the factory? A brand new product release, and it's defective. That's not a good thing. Well, I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna do a little diagnostics and see if I can figure out what the root cause is here. And so, I'll be right back. Well, I don't find anything really wrong with the unit except that it's got a bad design. All the capacitors are good. The B+ voltage just has ripple in it because that should actually be equaled out with a push-pull parallel amp, but it's there. So it's a design flaw. So right now I'm pumping a low frequency signal through it. The sine wave output looks great. I'm looking at it on my oscilloscope. I don't have my distortion analyzers and stuff anymore. I donated them to the local college. I used to have all sorts of audio equipment. But it looks pretty good. I'm using a natural load, of course. I don't want to run it through a resistor. So overall, the amp, the audio part of it sounds great. It just has this bad hum, bad design. So I'm gonna do one more thing and I'll be right back. Okay, so the last thing I just now did was I took some of this deoxit fader lube and sprayed the 5 pots on front because they're definitely noisy. So what I'm gonna do is check it out now. I'm gonna turn the amp back on. It was off and I did use protective gloves while I was working in this area. So I'm going to turn it on and we'll see if it makes any more fader noise. Okay, the amp is all warmed back up again. I have the master gain all the way up, bass treble and mid all the way up, and no scratchy pot there, no scratchy pot there. All the pots now are fine. Should have never come that way. Definitely a quality issue Ampeg needs to address. Not releasing products with scratchy pots on them. So I'll put this baby back together and it'll be my backup amp for if I start playing in a band again. Certainly wouldn't use it as my main amp though, and as I've said earlier, not worth $1,300 by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe $800. So hopefully that helps you if you're thinking about buying one. Hopefully you won't, but if you decide to buy one, buyer beware. So thanks for watching. Tschüss.